Hey everybody, it's Atheist for the Cause here, and I wanted to talk about a article by Newsweek. So, border wall GoFundMe page update. Rival fundraiser for Trump wall ladder raises more than $24,000 in one day. A viral campaign on GoFundMe is asking people to donate their money to buy ladders for President Donald Trump's border wall. The Ladders to Get Over Trump's Wall campaign on GoFundMe has already raised more than $21,000 of its $100 million goal. Now, right off the bat, doesn't this seem like a fucking scam? $100 million for fucking ladders? The fundraiser, which was started by Twitter user Horse Whisper and Charlotte Clymer, was launched on Wednesday as a response to another fundraiser to help fund Trump's border wall. The campaign isn't really about ladders, Clymer told Newsweek. The fundraiser is aiming to show how ridiculous the We the People Will Build the Wall fund is. Okay, so this isn't a legitimate fundraiser, but you're taking people's money on GoFundMe, huh? So doesn't that make you a scam artist? I mean, people, even if the money gets refunded, I mean, don't people have to put the money forward and it's hung up in limbo for a while? Um, the campaign isn't really about ladders. Kleiner told Newsweek the fundraiser is aiming to show how ridiculous the We the People Will Build the Wall fund is, and even though at a rate of $1.7 million daily, it would take their fund about 35 years to raise the 21.7 billion that Trump's own Department of Homeland Security says would be needed to build said wall. We want to make sure letters are ready to send over to our undocumented friends and help them, the description of the fundraiser reads. If this seems ludicrous, we welcome you to the coalition of reasonable adults. Okay, first of all, you're not being reasonable at all. 21.7 billion is the total of the entire wall, as you mentioned, but that's not what the fundraiser is for. And I'll show that later. The fundraiser is only for $1 billion. And that could do a lot in terms of getting the wall started. I mean, uh, the entire wall would probably take a decade to build. It would take a long ass time to build the whole wall. So if you can get $1 billion in funds towards the wall, then you can put enough money into the wall that like it becomes a thing, that there's a lot of time spent in constructing the wall, and then there starts to feel an obligation to finish it because we've already put 1 billion into it. And Trump's already put he's already gotten some funding for the wall, um, that he's put towards the wall to build the prototypes and all of that in San Diego. So they are doing some building of the wall already. But anyways, let's continue. Supporting an organization working to help immigrants seeking legal asylum. This GoFundMe isn't really about ladders at all. It's about lifting people up. A description for the fundraiser read. The fundraiser was started as a response to another viral fundraiser called We the People Will Build the Wall Fund. The fundraiser was started by a Florida Air Force veteran, Brian Colfage, and went viral. 3 days since it launched, it has already raised over 6 million as of Thursday. Colfage previously told Newsweek that he started the campaign because there was inaction from politicians on both sides of the aisle. I could see the frustration among many Americans like myself. I knew there was a possible way to do this with so many people passionate about the cause, he previously said. Okay, so who seems like the reasonable adult here? The one who does a campaign that isn't intended to be legitimate from the start about raising money for ladders set at $100 million, or the veteran who sets the amount at $1 billion, which would be roughly 1/20th the cost of the entire wall, who has hired legal professionals to make sure that, and has promised every dollar will go that is raised will go towards the wall as long as they raise about the amount, at least close to the amount of the goal. And if they don't get close to the goal, they'll refund everybody. Now, which one of those seems like the reasonable adult? Because to me, the one who's doing the legitimate fundraiser seems like the reasonable adult. But I digress. Clymer, who works for the Human Rights Campaign, said she and Twitter user Horse Whisperer created the fundraiser on their own to show how absurd the border wall was. Horse Whisperer made a joke about creating a fundraiser for ladders, and the campaign was born. It's incredibly concerning in how it reflects white supremacy in our country. Wait, what? How do we get from raising money for a wall on the border to white supremacy? I mean, what evidence is there that the donors are donating based on their belief that white people are supreme to other races? I think deep down, these folks know a wall isn't going to work, and they sure as hell know they're not going to raise 21.6 billion, let alone a fraction of the 12 billion Trump claimed it would take. Actually, Trump has said from the very beginning, I mean, he might have said that, at some point 12 billion, but he's definitely said that the wall would take around 20 billion as well. It's not like there's a set time when, or a set amount that this would cost, because it's not really known. I mean, it depends on what type of wall you go with and how far you actually go, how much you use natural barriers like mountains, stuff like that. So, they can't perfectly project how much the wall would cost. But also, like, nobody said that this fundraiser was supposed to be like the sole fundraiser, the sole source of money for the wall. It's just meant to be a part of it. So they're not buying into symbolism. Yeah, can you just imagine if $1 billion was raised for the wall and sent to it, and then Trump said, "Oh, we're not doing the wall." Like, this amount fundraiser is a strong message to Trump that he's got to do what he promised, because his supporters still really back it. They're buying into symbolism. It's heartbreaking to those of us who want in America where skin color isn't a barrier. See, these are the actual racists, because what? First of all, the point of the wall is to prevent illegal immigration. And what race is an illegal immigrant? These people would have you believe that, Latinos are illegal immigrants. But in fact, illegal immigrants, which Trump supporters know, are of all different races. So it's not a racist, the wall's not a racist thing. Clymer, who is also a military veteran, hopes the fundraiser will show others that immigrants need support and not to be rejected from the U.S. This wall is wholly absurd, and the folks supporting it are doing so for the worst reasons. Clymer said, well, okay, you can, you know, inject that, but where's your evidence of that these people are donating money for the worst reasons? How about, the non-profit humanitarian organizations that say I think it's over 80% of Central American women that are going to the U.S. illegally, to cross illegally, I should say, they end up getting like raped, and might include murder, but I think it's all violent crimes. Some sort of violent crime happens to them on the way, in terms of 80% of them. So, uh, having people come up is a humanitarian crisis. We need to stop it for their own good. The money raised in the campaign will be donated to Refugee and Immigration Center for Education and Legal Services, a nonprofit that provides services for immigrants and their families. Okay, so you're raising this money based on false pretenses that you say it's going to go towards ladders, but really it's going towards this Immigration Center for Education and Legal Services. Is that not a false raising money on false pretenses? Like, shouldn't GoFundMe step in and shut this fundraiser down? I believe the people supporting this border wall know border wall know it won't help, but they would gladly spite themselves just to keep brown people out of our country. Climber told Newsweek, "It's a tragic level of bigotry." Why would people spite themselves to get at brown people with their money around Christmas time? It just doesn't make any sense. Even if you're like white supremacist, why would you want to go out of your way and hurt yourself, like just to get at somebody else? Couldn't you do it in a way that doesn't hurt yourself? So, but when you see how many people have actually raised, donate money towards the wall, you'll see that there's no way in hell this is only white supremacists. So here's their stupid letter donation. $100 million goal. They're at $27,000 in 17 hours. And, most of that was raised right away because of Newsweek. And since then, 1,100 people have donated. They're not really getting anywhere. There are still some donations here, but it's not going that well for them. And but if people want to give towards this, that's their prerogative. That's up to them. I can't speak right now, but uh, I just hope they know what they're actually donating to, because the campaign doesn't make it that clear. And then here's the actual "we the people will fund the wall." And 7.5 million of $1 billion. That's some serious money. So it's over 120,000 people have donated in 3 days. Are you really telling me there's over 120,000 white supremacists giving money? Hell no. That's giving white supremacists way too much credit. I mean, white supremacy is, it exists, but as an ideology, it is not well liked. It is not common at all for people to believe in white supremacy. But anyways, it says, let's go over this a little bit, and then that'll be all. That's all I wanted to cover. So, my name is Brian Kolfage. I have a verified blue check Facebook page as a public figure, and I'm a Purple Heart recipient, triple amputee veteran. Remember, this is the guy who the person fundraising on the other GoFundMe said that he's not being an adult. Him and the other people donating are not being adults, and they're giving money for the worst reasons. Yeah, this Purple Heart recipient, triple amputee veteran. That's verified on Facebook. Please read an entire statement before emailing questions. Do not make donations in celeb politician names. They will be refunded according to GFM. Any questions about this message? Follow blah blah blah. Just rules. Government has accepted large private donations before. Most recently, a billionaire donated $7.5 million to fund half of the Washington Monument repairs in 2012. This is no different. That's actually a very good point. I didn't even know that until I read it here. Like a majority of those American citizens who voted to elect President Donald J. Trump, we voted for him to make America great again. President Trump's main campaign promise was to build the wall. And as he's followed through on just about every promise so far, I agree. Like, he takes some criticism from the left for not following through on his promises. I'm like, what the hell have you been looking at? He's followed through on just about everything he said. Like, people try to get into like little technicalities to say this didn't happen exactly the way he said it, or if he gets this wall done, they're gonna say, oh, it wasn't a wall because it's got little holes, and now so it's a fence because it's not just like one big concrete thing. And it's like, that doesn't matter. Getting the barrier up is all that matters. And Trump has over and over come through on what he's promised. This wall project needs to be completed still. As a veteran who gives, and I don't think they're completely fair here, because yes, it needs to be completed. That's true, but there has been some accomplished on the wall. It hasn't been completely neglected. As a veteran who has given so much, 3 limbs, I feel deeply invested to this nation to ensure future generations have everything we have today. Remember, this is the guy who's in it for the long reasons, allegedly. Too many Americans have been murdered by illegal aliens, and too many illegals are taking advantage of the U.S. taxpayers with no means of ever contributing to our society. I have grandparents who immigrated to America legally. They did it the correct way, and it's time we uphold our laws and get this wall built. It's up to Americans to help out and pitch in to get this project rolling. See, this is key point, and I want to talk a little bit about the legal nature. Like, and Scott Adams, I listen to Scott Adams a little bit, or quite a bit. He's talked a lot about this, and he's been naive in some ways, because some of his ideas are are about, like, he's come up with this idea where the people would give like $1,000 to the government because to undercut the cartels who charge 5,000, and then we would benefit by getting money, and they would benefit by coming in, and then we'd also benefit by taking the money away from the cartels. But that totally, like, misses the point that the reason illegal immigration exists is because we can't handle all the legal immigration. We put a number on how many immigrants we're going to take for a reason. And we hit that number, and more people want to come. And so the people who can't get in legally, they just try to come in illegally. Or some people can't get in illegally, and or can't get in legally, they don't even try. They just, I mean, maybe they could if they tried, who knows? But a lot of times they don't even try. So, and then it says, I have grandparent, or wait, if the 63 million people who voted for Trump each pledged $80, we can build the wall. That equates to roughly $5 billion. Even if we get half, that's half the wall. We can do this. Democrats are going to stall the project by every means possible and play political games to ensure President Trump doesn't get his victor. They'd rather see President Trump fail than see America succeed. So true. However, if we can fund a large portion of this wall, it will jumpstart things and will be less money Trump has to secure from our politicians. This is a key statement right here, because it shows he's not expecting this to be the entire source of revenue, which basically contradicts every argument that the fundraiser of the other GoFundMe came up with. It's like, we just need enough money for the wall to become established, to say, okay, this is going to happen because, we've already put $1 billion into it from private citizens. It's up to the government to finish it. This won't, and it's not easy for the Democrats to say, no, we're not going to, yes, we're going to continue to block a wall that's had $1 billion put into it from private citizens. Like, that doesn't make them look good either. This won't be easy, but it's our duty as citizens. This needs to be shared every single day by each of you on social media. We can do it. We can help President Trump make America safe again. How do you know this is not a scam? And this is him, by the way, and his kids and his wife. How do you know this is not a scam? I'm using my real name, my real information. You can contact me and hold me accountable. People who try to scam you will not be upfront with their information. They will hide and not use their name. I have a public figure Facebook page with a blue check mark issued by Facebook that verifies my identity. I'm a retired U.S. Air Force member who was wounded in Iraq and lost 3 limbs. I have a website, briankolfage.com, where you can verify more about me. I will respond. I've been on Fox News many times. You can see I'm credible and a real person. The Gary Sinise Foundation also built me and my family a home. Do your research before donating and contact me if you have any questions. Does that sound like a guy who's not being grown up? Does that sound like a guy who's in this for the wrong reasons? You know, the fact that Newsweek would even publish that bullshit is not surprising at all in today's, you know, journalism, quote unquote. But when you actually look into the original fundraiser, you can see it's all bullshit. Newsweek is pushing propaganda effectively. Um, how will we get funds to the right place? We have contacted the Trump administration to secure a point of contact where all the funds will go upon completion. When we get this information secured, we will update. We have many very high level contacts already helping. So that's good news. Republican Representative Stephen Palazzo of Mississippi is introducing legislation to direct the Treasury Department to issue government savings bonds, which would allow us to fund the wall with this method. This is just one option. There are others on the table being discussed. 100% of your donations will go to the Trump wall. We are working with a law firm on a legal document that will bind the government to using the funds for the border wall itself. Nothing else. Now, who sounds like the con artist here? Who sounds like the adult? I would say the Purple Heart winning triple amputee with a blue checkmark Facebook page using his real name, who's been on Fox News and other media sites multiple times, is with the legal team behind him and connections to the administration about where to give the money, and to connections to representative in Congress about how to deliver the money. I'd say that's the guy who is being more adult here. Not the person asking $100 million for ladders, which they're not even serious about. We will hold all funds and not release a single penny until we have all legal aspects covered to ensure our money goes only to the wall. If we don't reach our goal or come significantly close, we will refund every single penny. We are working on a time frame to achieve. So that's all I've got for you guys, but if you want to chip in, it's just gofundme.com/ the Trump wall. It's currently at around $7.5 million of the $1 billion goal in only 3 days, might I stress. And that's with 122,000, almost 123,000 donors. So, you know, this whole thing on recent donations is all of people giving just now. That's pretty amazing. So, anyways, have a good one, guys.